My name is Leo, I'm from Taiwan, and today I invite a very special guest.
Hello, my name is Harry Newman. I'm a filmmaker and artist from Brisbane, Australia.
Wow, so how old are you now?
I'm 17 years old. Yeah,
Wow,
18 very soon, 1 month.
Wow, and how long have you learned editing film, being in film industry?
Well, being in the films industry really jump-started in my later high school years. So the past 4 years, I've really pushed myself into the films industry. But I've been making silly videos for about 8 years. When I was younger, I would use my parents' cameras and I'd make silly videos like that. But really, in the past 4 years, have I honed my skills and really learned a lot, and it's become a great passion of mine.
So how did you choose, you say your high school is specialized in film editing. It's different from the normal high school, I think, academy-wise.
Yeah, so my high school really places a lot of focus on the arts, right? They spent a lot of money and they invested a lot into creating this performing arts center and really specializing in that area. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to go there, of course. And because of that, it has allowed so many people to have the opportunity to learn lots about that field and really discover that if they love it, like I did. So my school teaches 2 film subjects. They teach film and TV, that's a general subject, and then media arts and practice, that's an applied subject, and I take both. And it's been really great for me to have that opportunity to learn so much. They've given me a lot of opportunities, such as going into festivals or being able to display my work publicly.
Oh, and it's a huge advantage for you because you enter media industry in so early age. Because a lot of people maybe they start discover this industry during university. They choose film major. But what inspired you to choose this major?
Well, it was really, I wanted to do something creative, right? I love being creative. I love expressing myself in that way. And to me, film was just the perfect epitome of going in that direction. It was really great for me to be able to film something and then have complete control over what it looks like and what it sounds like. And it really interested me in storytelling in that style. Yeah. And so I wanted to continue to do that. I've always loved things like literature or English, or I've really enjoyed music as well. But I feel like film and the media industry really just bring it all together, and they have a nice, neat circle that has all these little creative attributes to them. And that's what really interested me in pursuing that.
And do you also interest in maybe acting? Because you look like an artist or actor or something.
Well, actually, that's what I used to be really into. When I was much younger, I was very interested in acting. A lot of stage stuff, a lot of community theater around the place. I'm still interested in that, but I just feel like it's not my field. I feel like I might be outclassed, It's just not something I see myself putting myself 100% into. But I feel much more comfortable writing or directing.
Behind the screen.
Yeah, exactly, behind the camera. And, acting, as nice as it can be, it's just not for me. It's just nothing I see myself taking too seriously.
Yeah. So maybe if one day you could collaborate with any maybe director, artist, singer, actor, actress, who would you like to meet?
Whoa, that's a tough question. Let me think about that. I really like the work of writer-director Robert Eggers. He made the films The Lighthouse and The Witch and The Northman. And he's just recently made this movie Nosferatu as well. He's got this very interesting Gothic style, a lot of experimental elements as well. So I'd love to work with him. I also would like to work with, in the music industry, I feel like a lot of people are so creative, and I feel like a lot of musicians are more than that. They often design clothes, or they often make films, or even just music videos. They're often more connected in that media industry. So I'd love to collaborate with a musician or just a musical artist like that, like someone like maybe Kanye West or Tyler, the Creator. Yeah, they're so creative, even though they do so much more than just music.
So maybe as a film editor, as a director, how do you get your inspiration?
For directing?
Yeah.
Oh, it often comes down to looking at what project I'm focusing on. If I want to do a more story-based project, I will often just think of scenarios that happen in everyday life, and I'll think, well, how can I make this more interesting, right? Like just like a conversation like this. If I were to make a film that had a conversation, how would I make that more interesting? But then I would look at other things. Like I recently made a very experimental film, and for that I looked more introspectively. I looked at myself and how I was feeling and how I wanted to express myself. So it's really up to what projects you're focusing on. And a lot of that just comes down to life. You experience life and you see, well, how can that translate to the screen?
Wow. So, and I wonder, maybe as an artist, how do you feel the past? Do you feel like maybe a little bit lonely? Because maybe most of the time you have to think ideas by yourself and edit by yourself. Like
Yeah. Oh, well, you can think of it that way. And I get lonely from time to time. For an artist, it's not so much that artists are lonely. It's more that lonely people are artists. Since they are lonely, or they feel differently, or whatever, they feel the need to express themselves through other ways because they don't have the people around them to express themselves to. And oftentimes that comes to art. So they will express themselves when they write a song, or they paint a picture, or they make a film, in my case. And I think that's great. It's a fantastic way to express yourself. And even if you don't feel lonely, it's a great way to express yourself as well. More you were talking about with editing or writing alone, I suppose it can become a lonely process, but most of the time, at least for me, I just become so engrossed in what I'm doing. I love to write, I love to edit, and I often find that find myself just working away at it. I'm not even really thinking. I'm just going through the motions, doing what I need to do, and I'm fixing up what I need to fix up. And it's an enjoyable experience, for me at least.
wow. And I wonder, how do you normally manage your time? Because it seems like probably very time consuming, like doing editing, and you have to filming as well. So maybe what kind of practice or like routine? Do you read a lot, or do you watch a lot of movies?
Yeah. Well, I try to watch as many films as I can, of course, and that's how you get a lot of your inspiration as well. You can see what other people are doing. In terms of time management, I like to do just as much as I can, I love to just film for as long as I can, and then if I have enough time to edit, I'll edit that day. But also, I really want to stress the importance of taking your time with things. If you rush things too quickly, and then say you have like this project that you feel really passionately about, but you have to rush it, it'll give you this end product that you're not happy with. So if you need to take your time, take it slow, make sure you put in every ounce of love into it that you can to get this final product. Because if you're putting a lot of love into the script, but then no love into the editing, the end product is going to fall. And you don't want that. You want your end product to be something you're proud of course. So it's important to take your time. And even if that means it's going to come out later, or it's not going to come out as soon as you'd hoped, I think it's worth it to get a better end product.
Wow, incredible, impressive. And so far, do you think what's the most rewarding part, like being in media industry?
The most rewarding part is whenever you see your work displayed in a public place, like a festival or just a showing. It's so amazing to see your work be screened for people and have these people. I was at a festival recently, and I just got to see my work up on this massive projector, and I saw all these people watching it, and at the end they all clapped, and it was really so lovely. It was so heartwarming to see that these people enjoyed my work, and that's what it is for me. And not only that, I was happy with it as well, and that's what's great. I love another very rewarding part is the editing process. Once you've finished editing and you can finally watch back your work, and to feel proud of it is just so rewarding. And then to see that others like it as well is rewarding.
And so far, what kind of videos have you made? Have you tried like music videos or any kind of documentary?
Yeah. So, doing a lot in high school, they give you lots of tasks to complete. So they'll say, make a music video or make a documentary. I've made a couple of documentaries just through school. My school would say, hey, can you make a documentary about this? Or can you make a video explaining this more? So I've done a couple of documentaries. I've only done one music video. Wasn't too good.
No worries.
But you know, it was my first try. More than anything, I've done story-based films, story-based videos where I would try to. Trying to think of the right words. I would try to tell a story, and I'd try to introduce this world or these characters, and that's what I enjoy doing the most. Documentaries are great, and music videos, they're great, but I think storytelling is what is most needed, and that's what I find most enjoyable.
Yeah, I think being a great storyteller is very important in any kind of ways, like marketing, film industry. So do you have any tips how to become a better storyteller?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, absolutely. Being a great storyteller at all is just fantastic. To be a better storyteller, I feel like you need to market it in a way that people can understand very quickly and very completely. So it's tempting to want to make your story very nuanced or very layers or have lots of twists and turns. But if there's too much of that, you will alienate your audience. And you don't want to do that. You want your audience to believe you. You want your audience to hang on to every word you're saying. And so you want to give them just enough to where they're listening to you. Because if you confuse them too much, they'll stop listening. And if you don't confuse them at all, then they'll stop listening as well. So you need to kind of lead them on. You need to give them words that they can listen to. And you need to give them words that will confuse them and say, hey, what are you saying? Let me listen in more. So to be a good storyteller is to make sure that your audience knows what's going on, but leave them in the dark enough to want to hear the rest of what you have to say.
Amazing. Amazing. So because I'm from Asia, Taiwan. So have you watched maybe any like Asian films or like?
I don't recall if I've seen any from Taiwan, but I have seen quite a few from Japan or South Korea and a few Chinese movies. I remember a fantastic Korean movie I saw recently was this movie Old Boy. It's this action movie, this revenge flick. And then I've seen obviously a lot of animated Japanese things like Studio Ghibli and stuff like that. Do you like Studio Ghibli?
Yeah, I like it very much.
Of course, yeah, who doesn't? It's great.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to seek out different cultures when viewing storytelling. That's something I feel so great about in Australia, is that not only do we have the Western sort of audience that is more into more Americana and more, Western, but we also have this very unique storytelling with the Indigenous Australians as well, the Aboriginal people. They have just such a rich history here, such a rich culture that it's great to see. So I love to reach out and see when I can different cultures in film. It's great. And if you shut off to that, I know a lot of people, my parents particularly, who won't watch a movie if they're not in English, right? And I think that's so terrible. How you're going to miss out. What if this movie that is not in English is just the best movie you've ever seen, and you won't know if you don't see it. So I think it's great. I try to watch as many movies as I can, including those in different languages or from different cultures.
Yeah. So do you think what are the difference between like Western films and Eastern films? Maybe particular in maybe storytelling way. What's the difference? Do you find any?
Well, there's obviously differences. There's differences in everything. In terms of Eastern, I feel like I haven't seen enough to really notice a lot of differences. But I have noticed differences from Western, more Americana stuff, and European films. So American films are a lot more about the whole picture. They're a lot more about the entire story and what's going on and what big explosion is going to be, what big action scene is going to be. But European films are a lot more character-driven. They're a lot more about what's happening with these characters and what these characters are going through emotionally. They're a lot more introspective in Europe. And from what I've seen, Eastern as well, a lot of times it'll focus much more on the character than the whole picture, which America does very well, more power to them. But I feel like I was telling about storytelling, the audience wants to relate to these characters, and having more of that is always good.
Yeah, and I believe like the way you, like Westerners, you express your emotion it probably tends to be more directly compared to maybe Asia, especially Asian people, we kind of more conservative. So do you think maybe how can we learn from each other, like to make the maybe movie industry, media industry become better?
That's a very good question. I think in terms of storytelling or in terms of media, it is always better to be more authentic. It's always better to tell the truth when you can, express yourself truthfully when you can. And I know that different cultures have different standpoints on that. A lot of times in Australia, we don't talk about our problems. We bottle them up or stuff like that, you know. And it's not healthy. And in terms of storytelling, it doesn't make for a good story where the character doesn't say anything to anybody or anything like that. It helps to be authentic. It helps to tell the truth.
Yeah. And I wonder what's your all-time favorite movie?
Oh, my number one all-time favorite movie is The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers. It is just terrific. It's like 100 minutes of black and white. It's got Robert Pattinson from Twilight and the Batman, and it's got Willem Dafoe from Spider-Man and some other movies, and it's great. And it won Best Cinematography, I think, at the Oscars. Yeah, fantastic movie.
And maybe if one day you could opportunity to direct a movie, like Hollywood movie, what kind of genre of the movie would you like to try as your debut?
As my debut, I would love to make a romance movie. Like I have this idea for a film. You may notice most romance movies are so angry at each other. You know, a lot of romance movies have a lot of fighting and a lot of bickering. But I just want to make a romance movie where it's just about a couple that love each other. You know, they are a happy couple from beginning to end. Or I would love to make a drama movie about maybe like an assassin or something like that. I would love to tell stories that haven't really been told, and maybe that's for better or for worse, but I'll find out. You know? I would love to make unique things because we've already got so much of the same stuff. We've got so many action movies and so many superhero movies. I just want to make unique films.
Yeah. And maybe in this romance movie, what are the maybe concept, idea lessons you want to express, maybe by your own love lessons you experienced before?
Right. Well, communication is great. In a relationship, communication is everything. And whether that's a romantic relationship or even a work relationship like what we have right now, you know, it's so important to communicate what is happening. And that's also a great thing for storytelling. You know, if you need to communicate you need to communicate a story, but you need to communicate a concept to your audience. So yeah, communication, that's the big thing.
And now you also have your own like media company.
Yes. Yeah.
So what's the name of your company?
So my media company is called Summer Jeans Productions. I started that 2 years ago. It originally started as just me. So any films I would make would be by Summer Jeans Productions. And then just this year, my very good friend Maddie Austin, another very talented filmmaker, she approached me and she asked, hey, would I be able to be a part of Summer Jeans Productions? And I said, of course. I knew her work, I knew she was great, she's a lovely person. And so we began to work together and we would make films, we made a documentary together, and she would make her films and she would say Summer Jeans Productions. So it was the two of us for a long time. And then very late this year, very recently, we approached another filmmaker, Mark DeCastro, very, very talented. And we approached him and we asked, hey, are you signed with anybody? And he said no. And we said, would you like to be part of our company? So now it's the three of us. It is me, Harry Newman, her, Maddie Austin, and Mark DeCastro. So look out for those.
Yeah, most of my audience, they are from Taiwan. So there are so many talented like artists, musicians. I do feel they must have like the need of film like editing skills.
Okay.
Like, and maybe they can one day become your clients. You
Yeah,
could collaborate with them.
No, it's great to have an audience. It's great to have a fan base. It's great to have people that can learn from you. It must be so great. Like at school, I'm one of the prefects, right? I'm in like a leadership position, and it's so great to see people ask me for help or want to learn things from me. It's very what's the word? I feel very proud to be in that position, you know? As must you, with your family.
Yeah. And maybe if one day you could work abroad for maybe a couple years, which country or city would you like to go?
Oh, as a couple, I would love to visit the Netherlands, Amsterdam. I just think that city is so beautiful, and I would love to explore that. I would also obviously love to visit Hollywood, in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I would also love to visit South Korea, just because it has become such a large global port. So much media that is consumed comes from there, and that really wasn't the case until about 40 years ago. So I'd love to visit South Korea as well.
Yeah, cool. So everyone, if you have any need in like media industry, please contact Harry.
Of course. At Summer Jeans Productions on Instagram, come find me.
Yeah, thank you so much for your sharing.
Of course. Thank you for having me.